Guys, look, I'm not here for moral victories, but last night did prove something to me. Now, they probably didn't prove anything to themselves, but the Texas A&M men's basketball team did, I think, prove to the rest of the SEC and to us that they can play with anyone, and the SEC has been put on notice. They hit just a couple of threes or free throws. I think we're talking about a completely different game. Welcome into a quarantine edition of TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. I'm in my makeshift Rollo Insurance studio. Appreciate Rollo and everything that they do to us. Texas A&M does fall yesterday to Kentucky 64-58. It was a game where they led most of the way, but just couldn't hit some shots down the stretch, but really all game long. The three-point game was missing once again. This one, though, it cost them when they couldn't hit the threes. They couldn't hit any buckets down the stretch, and they missed a lot of free throws in this one as well. But the respect is there around the league, and now the league has been notified. And with that, we begin the Go Hour, and we go to the real Rollo Insurance Studio with my buddy Olin Buchanan, the Heisman Trophy voter. Olin, good morning to you, sir.
Well, good morning. A little bit tired this morning after a reasonably late game, but and then getting home and replaying it in my mind and thinking how close the Aggies came to pulling off such a big upset. Had they been like you mentioned, had they had a bad night shooting, they would have won that game. But when you have I don't know, what's about three rungs lower than bad? Atrocious. When you have atrocious shooting night, you're just not going to beat anybody. It was amazing that A&M was in a position to win or force overtime in the last minute.
Yeah, it's so I'm quarantining, so I got to watch the broadcast of it. And one of the things that jumped out to me at halftime, they were talking about how Kentucky, was right there, and they were right there. Unfortunately, the end of the first half was not the way the Aggies. The end of the first half and the end of the game were not the way the Aggies had drawn it up. But I think it goes back to your point, OB. Kentucky may have had an off night. I think A&M's defense caused that, but A&M's lack of movement on offense really forced them into some bad shots. And we've seen that plague this team in some games in the past. There's just not enough movement.
Well, I don't know what their, offense is and what they're trying to do. Logan would be able to decipher that more than me. But I do know that they had some good looks at some of those three-pointers and didn't get it. I'm used to A&M not being able to shoot from the free throw line. They're just a bad free throw shooting team, and that's just the way it is. But they entered that game as the SEC leader in three-point accuracy, and I'm sure they're not going to be that anymore. Sometimes you do wonder what's the game plan or what's the plan on the play, but they again with the open three-pointers that they consistently missed. Not all of them obviously were open, but that's just such a that quite frankly that was the game. I think A&M wanted to keep Kentucky under control on their break. They did that. They wanted to keep Kentucky from getting too many offensive boards. I think when you keep Kentucky down to about 15 and I think it was 18 second chance points, I think that's actually a pretty decent job on Kentucky. They wanted to lower their minimize their own turnovers. They did that. I think they only had about a dozen. And they wanted to try to make points off Kentucky's turnovers. They did that. They forced turnovers and scored. They just couldn't shoot the ball. And, for all the things you do in basketball and everything, about rebounding and moving the ball and da-da-da-da-da and playing defense, it still comes down to who puts the ball in the hoop the most. And A&M just – you go 1 of 22 from the free foul line, and then I think it was 5 of 13 at the free throw line. You're going to lose, and yet A&M still almost won.
Yeah, they almost won. So I was a little jealous that you were there and I was not. My plans got derailed maybe an hour before I was going to leave. So I'm watching it on TV, and the atmosphere looked amazing to me, OB. It kind of reminded me, and tell me if I'm wrong here, that game felt just like the Alabama game on multiple layers. I think Reed Arena brought their game, right? The fans were there. What is it, 6,000 students? It was just a raucous crowd. The game had a similar script to it, to where it feels like, all right, A&M is in control of this game Bama made their run against A&M. Kentucky makes their run, and then A&M had a chance at the end to have that Zach Calzada moment, come back and win it. They just weren't able to do it. But I saw a lot of parallels in what this game felt like. Did it feel that way to you?
Well, I didn't even think about that until you just now brought it up. But yeah, it absolutely did. A&M got off to a fast start in football. Kentucky got off. A&M got off to a fast start. Alabama eventually regained the lead. Kentucky did. A&M was able to keep it close, and tied it in football. And A&M got within 2 points and had several opportunities to tie or take the lead. The difference is, they didn't have the like you just mentioned, they couldn't make the big play. A&M did not score the last 2.5 minutes. Only hit one of their last 7 shots, and it's tough. I think I see this more than or maybe I think I do more than it is. But for whatever reason, A&M often just doesn't seem to finish the half or the half strong, and they were really in control the whole first half, and then Kentucky goes on an 8-2 run to close the half. It doesn't seem like much because they had a 5-point lead, but then when you go back and say, man, if you'd been able to close the half strong, maybe you're still able to hold off Kentucky. But they just couldn't get it done there at the end.
All right, let's open up the phone lines. If you do want to call us, you can call us on the BCSI hotline. That number is 979-693-1150. We will take calls. And we can also text the show on the A&B text line. That number, 979-693-1150. A&B, a College Station branch of the Amarillo National Bank. Good Texas banking. The website, anb.com. OB, before we go around and say hello, I do want to ask you this question, and this can be asked of the listeners as well. I don't like moral victories. I know coaches don't like moral victories. I'm not calling last night a moral victory. I'm asking you, though, did they prove something to you? And what I mean by that, I think the players, obviously, they're players. They believe in themselves. They believe in their system. They believe in the work that they've put. But I think me, as somebody who has seen this team play most games this year and the intensity they play with, I still didn't know what to believe when it came to superior talent. You can look at Arkansas and say that's a superior team, and then they took care of business there even though they were down. Against Kentucky, they brought their A game defensively, which I think will travel with them against any team that they play. So I ask you, OB, did they prove anything to you?
I don't know if they proved anything to me as much as they reinforced my opinion that the strength of that team is just the mental toughness and the intestinal fortitude. I think we talked about that yesterday. I was saying I thought what gave A&M the best chance is just that they're a dogged, determined team that just never quits. Because again, I hate to harp on it, but how can you not? It still goes back to the fact that you couldn't shoot. Now get the ball inside to Henry Coleman. You've got, he played great. He's playing like an all-conference guy. And Aaron Cash played, I think, over his head. But you've got to, they couldn't shoot. So I think that you saw a lot of guys step up and play hard and really compete and was just never gave up and was relentless. But I see that from this team, I think, every game. What I typically don't see is a team that just can't buy a bucket from beyond the arc. They were Arctic cold from 3-point range. And just think, if they shot 15%, a miserable 15% from 3-point range, they win the game. So I think they just reinforce to me what they are in terms of heart and in determination. But I think when you shoot like that, it raises questions of, how accurate can you be as this SEC season moves forward?
All right, let's go around the room and say hello to everyone in different rooms, I should say. Let's go to the booth. Dalton Hughes, good morning to you, sir.
Morning, Nuno. How are you?
I'm doing well. So what do you think of – so we went through this already with the Luchador podcast where so I feel like I've been saying this for a while, but my house is not complete. And when I say that, we're living in it. We're not completely unpacked, but there's some areas that, there's a delay in a lot of the stuff that they need to put in the house, like doors in our office and whatnot. So I just try to find an area where the dogs aren't going to bark. And I like when Billy's dog barks, by the way. But I got two. And when they bark for a while with all the construction going across. So I just try to find a little quiet area. What do you think about my little setup?
I think it's working. I think maybe we need to get you a USB flash stick with maybe a TexAgs logo, throw it on the back TV or something like that. But other than that, yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I'm proud of you for toughing it out. I know it's not the most ideal situations, but if we've learned anything about this show in the last 18 months, come hell or high water, we'll get it done.
Well, I think, and I know they're not going to like this, but I think this makes me feel like I should have a couple of Gabecations, because now that I can take the show on the road, why not go to Hawaii, go to Miami, go to all these fun places? I can still do the show. My family can go out to the beach. I can join them later. I think that should be how we take, and Olin too. Olin, I know he can, set up an iPhone in his room and we can do the show on the road. What do you think?
I mean, I'm fine with that. I've pitched multiple times. Shout out our friends out at Traditions, some summer pool time shows. Because then it's just easy for me to go to the range, hit a couple balls. But, that's up to you.
Do we all sit around in our swimsuits around that poolside?
Absolutely. Like a little cabana. Yeah. Sit in the cabana, serve some brunch. We can have Richard serve you, Olin. I know.
I'll show up in my Speedo.
Well, yikes.
Hey, good chance I do curls while we're at the pool just to get those veins popping right before we go on air. That's a fact.
The TexAgs Radio Summer Series live from the pool.
We'll get Richard to oil you up before the show.
See, line, Olin. Line's here. Olin's beyond the line.
You're the one talking about pumping up and everything. Don't all you bodybuilders like to oil up before the show?
Yeah, bodybuilders look at me and they think, all right, little skinny dude. Let's say hi to Tomas Romo at the News and Social Center. Tomas, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, David. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Tomas?
You always love getting me with the voice in the mornings. I wish I can control it. Just sometimes when I wake up, I guess my voice sounds a little bit deeper sometimes. I don't know. But I got two things for you.
Batman, dude. Like every time we come to you, like you loosen up, but that first line is like, hello, David. How are you?
Well, David, I got two things for you. First off, number 19 men's tennis defeats Arizona State. Texas A&M's men's tennis team opened up the dual match season with an impressive 5-2 win over Arizona State yesterday. The Aggies will take a brief break before competition before hosting the ITA kickoff weekend beginning on January 29th at the Mitchell Tennis Center.
All right. Anything else you want to read to us, my friend?
Yes, Spencer in Denver says, I think the item to know here is physically A&M read Kentucky on the boards. They beat them off the dribble, and they beat them off the double team. They beat Kentucky everywhere else but the scoreboard, and that's good news.
It is good news. I just hope that results in wins in the future, and I think it will. Because I'm thinking, I don't know about you, Olin, we'll continue this on the other side of the break, but I'm thinking to myself last night, like, hey, this team wins this game, they're going to the NCAA tournament. That's what it felt like to me. Like, this is their signature victory. They still have much more work to do, but that was the kind of the victory to get you in the party.
Well, I think, it definitely would have changed the opinion of some and maybe trajectory of the season, which may still be climbing upward. They got to next go to Arkansas. It's always hard to win in Fayetteville, but that would have been a huge feather in the cap without a doubt. But I don't know how good it is to win everywhere but the scoreboard. Because all you're supposed to do, you think, who feels better coming out of that game, Kentucky or A&M?
Kentucky.
And of course, they won the game. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. And, back when I lived in Austin, Tom Penders used to like to talk about quality losses. We lost, but it was a quality loss. And that never struck me as something you wanted to brag about.
All right, OB, let's hit a break here. When we come back, more on this game. We can open up the BCSI hotline, 979-693-1150. Do you believe in this team now? Did you believe in them before because you're a fan, or did you believe in them because of what you saw? We can get into that. And there are some football topics I do want to jump into right now, a moment for the Association of Former Students. They've been around helping for so long, guys. I'm talking over 140 years. Your financial gifts have empowered them to help everybody out there. That's why their motto is be here, be there, be everywhere, because they are. They're literally everywhere. Aggies all around the country, all around the world have benefited from the Association of Former Students, which means they've benefited from many of you who are Century Club members. And if you aren't one, like I did it in the very beginning, graduated from school. I was a Century Club member. I loved it. And then I moved a couple times, moved to San Diego, moved Dallas, and back and forth. And I just, didn't renew. And I'm over here wishing that I would have renewed, and I'm back in all in. And there's just such a great group. It's only $100 a year, basically $9 a month. You get the plaque, you get the decal, you get the Texas Aggie magazine. Plus, you're continuing in the oldest, most inspiring tradition of Aggies helping other Aggies. To learn more about the association, make a gift or get involved, visit aggienetwork.com/giving.
ESPN Radio has the score. The Score. Check in weeknights and weekends here on The Zone.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Bryan Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley.
Brazos Life, the annual manual.
Welcome home, Brazos Valley.
Brazos Family. Brazos Wellness.
Brazos Valley Bride.
Peace, Brazos Christian Life.
With the combined power of 7 magazine titles, 11 radio stations, and digital solutions, Bryan Broadcasting Publications can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
Hey parents, when it comes to your child's education, there's a lot to consider. No matter what you're searching for, search the Bryan Broadcasting half-price tuition program first. We've partnered with schools and learning centers throughout the area to get your students started with high-quality programs at half price. Right now, we're featuring half-price tuitions at Hopewell Classical Day School, Kitty Castle, Kinder Music, Southwood Learning Center, and more. Half-price tuitions are first come, first served, and availability is limited. Go to halfpricebrazos.com.
Did you receive a call or message that mentioned Social Security and demanded immediate action? Did the caller know your Social Security number or other personal information and tell you that your Social Security number had been used in connection with the crime? Did you feel worried that your Social Security number might be suspended, your bank account might be frozen or seized, or you could be arrested? That is not the Social Security Administration. Social Security will not threaten you, demand your personal information, or instant payment. Email or text you pictures or documents, or use a real government official's name to gain your trust. Social Security does not accept payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Criminals use these forms of payment because they are hard to trace. Do not be fooled. Hang up. Ignore them. Report this criminal activity to the Social Security Administration Office of the Inspector General at oig.ssa.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Cedric Golden of the Austin American-Statesman joined me, Louis Bellina, to talk about the renewal of A&M Texas, the rivalry in football, and really college football rivalries in general.
How many people listening right now blew up your text messages, blew up my Twitter, email me saying, we don't care, we don't want this, blah, 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 blah. But the romanticists and us, we were like, we want it because it's best for college football. College football is about Alabama, Auburn. It's about Ohio State, Michigan. It's about Texas and Texas A&M. Rivalries make it go. You can't beat a good old-fashioned blood feud. It is the best thing about sports.
The Louis Bellina Show, weekdays 11 to 2, right here on The Zone, and brought to you in part by Rudy's Barbecue.
All right, welcome back. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio, in my makeshift studio, I should say, at my home as I am quarantining. I know there was a text message saying that I sounded like I was in a well. That's because there's a lot of hollow space in the room that I'm at, but we'll try to get that sound a little bit better. I think we fixed a couple things there, Steve, in College Station. Yeah, I have to quarantine because I came in contact with somebody who's got it, but I feel great, and hopefully I can be back at the studio by Monday. A couple other text messages to get into. Dave and Temple guys, these visions of traditional school life you threw out there. Well, let's just say they are not providing visions of sugar plums and pleasant dreams other than troubling images. Great show from the beginning, Dave in Temple. David, I appreciate that. OB, people aren't a big fan of the Richard Zane oiling down people, and I got to agree. I don't like it either.
I just, again, you're talking about, doing the weights, pumping up, and I just thought that's what, the bodybuilders do before their show. And so, compared to the rest of, maybe not actual bodybuilders, but to the rest of humanity, you are, the bodybuilding type. So I just thought that if you were going to do that, then on the show, then you'd have to get, oiled up. Isn't that what they call it, oiling up?
Yeah, I think. I've never done it.
Now, are they offended by the idea that you're oiled up or by the idea that Richard's doing the oiling?
Yeah, nobody wants to see Richard. And I don't think they want to see you in a Speedo either, to be honest with you.
Oh, no, you do. You want to see that.
Let's move on. Here's a text message from Eric. It says, we're talking about Aggie basketball and Buzz as a coach, but the number one issue is recruiting. He's been for years. We don't have the right horses in the stable. When is Buzz going to get that done like Jimbo is? And I think those are two different types of conversations. OB, you agree with me?
Yeah, but I don't necessarily think I agree with that comment. Everybody, a guy like Manny, Obaseki, I think was a big time get. I think Wade Taylor was a big time get.
Yep.
They've got another guy coming in this next one. Maybe some guys aren't ready to play at the highest level right away, like those freshmen that typically go to Duke. But speaking of, you got a guy who was a freshman at Duke that played, and now he's here. Which would you rather do? Go out and get you a freshman that may take some time to develop, or do you going to go take a transfer from Duke that's playing at a all-conference level? I have no issue with Buzz as far as the way he's putting together his team. I think he just needs to find a go-to guy and, just some more reliable shooters.
Eric, you want to help recruiting as well and have more big high-profile players come to A&M beyond the few that OB just mentioned. Go to games.
Absolutely.
When the game is packed, look, we play a part in recruiting beyond NIL. There's a reason Walter Nolan, when he came to the Alabama game, not just the victory. Sure, the victory was part of the conversation, but the atmosphere that Aggie football fans bring to the table. And I'm going to be honest with you, they bring it to basketball too. It's just not as consistent. And I do believe that if you have a packed house like that, and yes, A&M has to bring a product that makes you want to go visit. But when you go, you got to stay loud. You got to come often. And hopefully that Kentucky game is a sign of many games to come because they're going to need Reed packed the rest of the way.
You know what? I want to give commend the Aggies for not just from the team giving fans a reason to show up, but they did the rock, paper, scissors thing for a guy to win $5,000 last night instead of having people crawl around on the floor to try to find a piece of paper and then still not win if they do it.
Right.
When you do that, what incentive do you give, kids to show up?
Well,
and then you've put out a good team, plus you had some good promotions, and it was a fun atmosphere.
While we're giving people shout-outs, shout out Wayne Roberts. What was it, about 2 o'clock yesterday? There's 300 or 400 tickets left, and he went and bought them out and set them outside the tower for the students to be able to go into the game. So, yes, A&M did what it needed to do to get the atmosphere in Reed Arena, and it delivered.
I heard they were turning away students.
Yeah, absolutely. Had to.
That's awesome. And you know what?
That was a fire marshal night.
And what you hope for is that it was such a good game, and unfortunately they didn't pull it out, but it was such a good game that it got everybody's attention and everybody had fun, and, hopefully you'll see them come back. By the way, I think when a team – I know they'll never be able to do this, and maybe this is blasphemy, but when your opponent is shooting free throws rather than the chant brick and Man, why don't everybody just break into the Saul of RC's horns off? Nothing makes you dizzier than seeing all those fans swaying back and forth.
Or an Olin Buchanan in a Speedo, fathead or whatever, and you're waving that. That would make
what
people
about
miss.
fat? What's this about fat? I think Olin Buchanan in a Speedo would definitely distract people, but probably more of it'd probably be better to use at the women's games because that would distract them.
All right. When we come back on the show here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio, I want to get into Henry Coleman and what he means to this team, because for a while I didn't know they had a go-to guy, and maybe not in your traditional sense, but that guy has become really the leader, the heart and soul of the way A&M goes. He has been such a great addition to this team. I want to get more into the rebounding as well. And also the costly end to the first half, which to me set the downfall for the second half. Yes, they had their chances, but the end of that first half kind of really gave that a different feel to the second half. We'll have that and more here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. Blinn Theater Troupe presents The Revolutionists. Performances run January 27th through the 30th. Purchase tickets online at blinn.edu/box office. The Government in Action Youth Tour is back. High school students can win an all-expense-paid trip to Washington, D.C. through BTU. Apply online by February 1st at btutilities.com/youth tour. The Children's Museum invites you to enjoy an enchanted evening with your little sweetheart as the daddy-daughter dance takes over the Stella Hotel on February 4th and 5th. Purchase tickets at cmbv.org. Help the Brazos Valley Food Bank bring hope to the table. Go online to bvfb.org. You can call or text the Louie Bellina Show weekdays from 11 to 2 at 979-693-1150. Visit with Louie on the Smoothie King hotline or win a Rudy's gift card and other great prizes by calling 979-693-1150. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Here's Brad Beard of Intercon.
As the old saying goes, if your only tool is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. At Intercon, we have a full toolbox to meet your window needs. Perhaps your home is ready for a full retrofit to vinyl windows. This full replacement option beautifies your home while improving thermal efficiency, noise reduction, and dust penetration. On the other hand, your existing windows may just need some maintenance. The glass in your existing windows may be replaced, in many cases upgraded to more efficient options. The mechanism in your windows can be replaced to allow the window to operate more smoothly. Maybe you just need solar screens on some windows to eliminate hot spots in your home that tax the air conditioning system and make some rooms unlivable. With the breadth and depth of Intercon's knowledge and product offering, we can find the solution that meets your needs and budgetary constraints. Trust your friends at Intercon to understand your needs and use the best tool for the job.
Whether you have new construction or an existing home, let the fine folks from Intercon help your home energy efficiency year-round. Call Brad Beard of Intercon today at 823-3639. That's 823-3639.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Max Kellerman.
Ain't no way in hell I'm taking Mac Jones over Justin Fields or Trey Lance for my money. I wouldn't have taken Zach Wilson over those guys either. Did he have some flashes this past season late in the year? He showed you a couple throws. You're like, okay, cool. But I also saw J.P. Losman make a few throws in the NFL, too.
It's Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor, here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
All right, everybody, welcome back in. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, quarantine edition and version of the show. I'm here in my Rollo Insurance Studio. OB back there at the mothership. We're talking Aggie basketball. Do want to get into some football notes here this segment, OB, but I guess, I teased earlier about Henry Coleman and just how good this dude is, man. And on multiple layers too. When there's a foul, a timeout, anytime the team is talking together, he's leading the conversation. He's instructing. He's being a leader. He's physical. He can score. He leads the team. This guy is everything we needed from him. We've seen it here in SEC play.
Definitely in SEC play. In those 5 SEC games so far, he's averaging 18 points, 6 rebounds, and I don't know what he's shooting, but I bet it's around 70%. Just in the SEC play. So, again, he's playing since conference plays began like an all-SEC caliber guy. Now, I don't know if he's going to continue that, but he's given me no reason to think he won't. He's all the things you just said, and he shoots the ball well too, and he's such a good teammate. I think that he was one of those guys where you felt like A&M would be better because he was here sight unseen. You said, well, he played at Duke, so Duke wanted him. So I think he's going to be better than, what they had in that position last year. But, man, is he I think he's, at least in conference play, even exceeding the expectations we might have had for him.
OB, to the rebounding by A&M yesterday, I was very, very impressed with, because for a long stretches, they were leading the rebounds. It was all the things that you want. It really was. People make the comparison to the Billy Clyde days, but it really was all the things that made that A&M team so much fun to watch beyond some of the superstars that came out of it. But, that the way they trapped the ball, the way they rebounded, the way they made second efforts and were able to get the ball jotted away from the big man and all the quality opportunities they got because of their hustle.
Oh, yeah. I don't like to use the cliche, but they're very blue collar, and Kentucky's the best rebounding team in the SEC, and I assume one of the best in the nation. And you go out there, and you give up 43 rebounds. Kentucky's going to get theirs, especially when you're A&M and you're missing shots in the volume that you're missing. But to go out there and get 40 rebounds yourself. And I think even though they gave up a lot of offensive rebounds, I think it was 15. I mean, that's a lot. But against that team, it's really not a dizzying amount. And to keep Kentucky, I mentioned it earlier, to 18 second chance points, I think shows that you really did a good job. So everybody was rebounding. I thought Aaron Cash came on, and especially rebounding wise, he was just a great compliment to Henry Coleman, and he played his tail off, Aaron Cash. Yeah. Now, unfortunately, he's not a great shooter at the foul line, but he made some big time plays to score. He scored 8 points. I can remember one time he looked like he was boxed in on the baseline and was able to get loose and make a reverse layup. But his greatest contribution was the way he just got in there and fought with, and I'm going to say his name right, Toshibe. I mean, he fought with him, and so did Coleman. So they were going against some of the better rebounding teams. I think the best rebounder in the SEC, and they didn't back off. And as a result, they almost produced a stalemate on the boards.
So the end of the first half.
Oh my.
It was not good. I forget what the run was. I'm sure you have it in your notes. But the end of
8-2.
the first half was not good. What was that?
8-2.
8-2 run. To me, that's not the difference in the game, because A&M led for most of the second half. But it did set the tone for the second half to where your margin of error was significantly less. And then, you knew Kentucky was going to start the second half hot, and that's what they did.
Well, if you extend it into the second half, that run became 13-2. And created a tie. Imagine if A&M finishes the first half strong. They're up 33-22, and I think it was Mintz. I couldn't even tell you his first name, but he scored a layup and was fouled, but he missed the shot. But that started the 8-2 run, and the only basket A&M got was Quentin Jackson got a breakaway dunk. And you thought, okay, maybe that's going to shift momentum for the last minute, but it didn't. And I think when A&M was in control the whole first half, but then goes in to the locker room at intermission with Kentucky on an 8-2 run and only down 5, you felt like Kentucky had the momentum, and then they took that momentum into the second half. But, then A&M kept fighting back, and it turned into one of those, just great, back and forth games. And unfortunately, Kentucky did not shoot well. Kentucky was only 4 of 18, 22% from three-point range. But they did shoot great. Well, I shouldn't say great. They shot much better than A&M at the free throw line too. And that was the difference. Kentucky didn't shoot great, but they shot a lot, but they weren't nearly as dismal as A&M. So that's why I said if A&M had just had a bad shooting night, they win the game because of all the other things they did right.
Yeah, you're exactly right there. I do want to go back to a play that I also think was instrumental. And look, I don't know what would have happened, but there was that one drive where Wade Taylor kicks it out as opposed to taking it strong to the basket. Now, there's different thinking there that he was either going to get fouled because there were 3 guys coming back and force the issue there. He pushed it back out. They're up by 6. If they're able to get any transition and scoring there, you're up 8 but within seconds, it was a 2-point lead after that. That was just one of those situations I would rather Wade take it to the hole, but it didn't turn out that way.
They could have played smarter. I can't remember the situation, or I can't remember exactly when it happened. I thought A&M had momentum, and I wish I could. If I thought to look it up in my notes, I could have found it. But Andre Gordon misses a 3, and like everybody did, and Henry Coleman got the offensive rebound and passed it back to Andre, who was not able to finish a layup, but he got his own rebound. And he was, he's about 6'2", and he's under the basket with, Kentucky's big guys all around him. And he finds a little bit of room to try to just throw up what he's hoping is a prayer, something that you see Larry Bird do. And I'm thinking, why aren't you not just passing the ball out? Just because you're down there doesn't mean you have to take the shot. And the shot clock, I don't think, was a factor anymore. I think some momentum turned right after that. I think Kentucky turned that into a basket.
They turned it into an and one.
An and one?
Yep.
So you remember what I'm talking about?
I do. It was missed shot, rebound, missed shot, rebound.
Do you remember exactly what point of the game it was?
Man, I want to say it was like 12 minutes maybe in the second half.
But things were really going A&M's way, and I think sometimes you got to play a little smarter, and I think that's one of the things that Buzz likes to teach. Like, be aggressive, but also understand where you are. So they made a mistake here and there. So you look at not just the shooting, but some places here and there. Where, if you play just a little bit smarter, maybe it makes a difference. And by the way, I don't want to be that guy, but that blames the officials, so I'm not. I will say, though, I thought there was a couple ticky-tack fouls that went against A&M when Kentucky was shooting, and on the other end that maybe A&M didn't get the same respect from the officials. But that was just, my opinion. Maybe I'm biased on that, but that's the way it seemed to me.
Yeah, there were some calls out there that I did not agree with. Hey, I do want to bring up something that came out yesterday. Chris Marshall getting a little bit of love. It looks like 247 has moved him up to a 5-star. And what I want to say about that is I'm actually impressed that an A&M player was moved up from 4-star to 5-star. It's usually the other way around. That being said, we've seen his talent on the highlight tapes. We've seen what he can do. And I am not surprised, especially with the way he played in the Under Armour game, that people are starting to take notice of what Chris Marshall brings to the table.
Yeah, I don't want – anytime somebody's tall and coming to A&M to play receiver, you know who they get compared to, right? Everybody says, well, this guy reminds me a lot of Mike Evans. Could it be that Chris Marshall's maybe a faster version of Mike Evans? Maybe not as physical, but faster,
right.
and he'll go up and challenge you for the ball?
I see that. Sure. Look,
well, if you can be compared to Mike Evans, I think that even though Mike was a 3-star coming out of Galveston Ball, I think that if you can legitimately draw a comparison to Mike Evans, you should absolutely automatically be called a 5-star.
When did it click for everybody that Mike Evans was not a quote-unquote 3-star, that this guy was a 5-star talent? Did it take Johnny's second year starting?
No, I can't tell you the game, but I can remember Mike, catching balls, just, short passes and just pushing the cornerback down. And, okay, I need 5 yards here. Okay, throw it to me. The corner makes contact with me at 4, 1 yard from the scrimmage. He just overpowers them. I don't know how many times he did that. And then I can remember a game against Louisiana Tech where he has like an 80-yard touchdown catch and he showed his speed. It was somewhere in that first year you start thinking, wow, this guy really is special. Whoever, I guess you give Sherman credit for finding that guy. Man, what a diamond in the rough here. By the time the second year, you're looking at that guy and thinking, he's making the big step forward, but he had already, I think, established himself as a great player as a freshman.
Well, to bring it back to Chris Marshall, I mean, when you think about what the Aggies are going to have at wide receiver over the next 2 to 3 years of just the kind of talent that they have, Evan Stewart, Chris Marshall, with the guys already on campus, Demas, who I think we all believe he's just scratching the surface of what he can and should be. Anaya's coming back next year, where you can put him in so many different positions.
Moose.
Offense, offense is not going to be a problem next year. Because A-Chain, but I want to make this more about those wide receivers, but just the kind of talent that they have with the number of stars and the big play potential, it's off the charts.
I agree. I think there's great big play potential. Now you got to start making some of the tough catches, Damon Demas. Anias has already proven himself. There's no doubt about what he is. And then you bring in guys that everybody in the country wanted, like a Marshall and like an Evan Stewart. And even and I'm sorry, I've forgotten the other wide receiver's name from the Houston area, but he's, to hear Roninger and Billy talk, he may be one of the most underrated.
Noah Thomas?
Yes, underappreciated guys out there. And I know there's a lot of folks that are saying, well, the receivers they're not that good, and I disagree. I think last year they were really injured, and there were some problems with Zach had his issues at times. I don't think we've gotten a real good idea of what these receivers can be other than Anias. And I think that A&M's receiving core, I understand the questions there. Caleb Chapman is a good guy when he's out there, but he misses more games than he plays. If you can get him out there, you've got a deep threat with good hands. I think Damon Demas showed flashes of brilliance, and then he showed flashes of things that would drive you crazy, but it was his first year as a starter. So I think you got to take that into consideration. And we finally got to see some of Moose, and I loved what I saw from him. So I really believe that A&M has a lot to work with at receiver.
All right, when we come back, another football news I want to get into, some transfers out there. A&M losing some players, and we'll talk about big picture of that. Also, that's bullcrap and some final thoughts on what happened last night at Reed Arena, A&M versus Kentucky. Right now, I want you to experience the difference with Caprock. So maybe not like right now, but the next time you're in an emergency situation, I want you to go somewhere where their main objective is to make you feel better. That's what they do. Now, all ER places that you go to, that's what they want to do. This is a place that is going to do it to you the moment you walk in. No crowded waiting room. They put the patient first in every decision that they make, and that is Caprock Health. They are such an incredible place, and they are in the Brazos Valley, locally owned and operated, and they want to put the patient first in every single decision that they make out there. They are so good. They have cash prices. So If you go look at other places, you can see, but their cash prices, they rival all the competitors here in town. You'll certainly want to check that out. You've got the Caprock Hospital in Bryan and Caprock 24-hour emergency center in College Station. They both have 0 wait times, and you'll never have to sit in a crowded waiting room, which is not pleasant at all when you go there. The hospital and 24-hour ER maintain a clean and sterile, safe environment. It is Caprock Health. Go check them out. Patient-centered care.
He's admitted to wearing shorts on the news anchor desk. David Nuno on TexAgs Radio. I like him.
For service you can trust and a job done right the first time, contact Tom Line Plumbing and Irrigation. Whether it's commercial or residential, new construction or service, they have you covered. Tom and Shelby Line have been serving the Brazos Valley for 11 years, and their team of plumbers have more than 40 years of experience. Customer service is their highest priority. Trust your every plumbing need to Tom Line Plumbing and Irrigation. Click TomLynePlumbing.com today.
In Africa, 5-year-old Chiru has no choice. She and millions like her must walk miles every day for dirty water. But together, we can end their walk by providing clean water close by. Instead of spending hours walking to get water that makes them sick, girls can be in a classroom that expands their minds, and moms will gain back time to care for their families. Sons and daughters can grow up strong, finally free of sicknesses caused by dirty water. At World Vision, care about clean water runs deep. Deep enough to reach one new person with clean water every 10 seconds. Because every child, every person, everywhere deserves clean water and the chance to rise to their full potential. It's true. When you just add water, you change a life. Learn more at worldvision.org.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
It's not every day you can save money. Oh, wait, you can. Hi, Jenny here from Big Deals. When you shop Big Deals, you'll save money every day on dozens of gift certificates from local businesses like these.
Nestle Toll House Cafe by Chip, Socorro's Second Chance Resale Shop, Superior Auto Service, and the Chocolate Gallery. Visit AggielandBigDeals.com to save big. AggielandBigDeals.com.
This is ESPN Radio.
Mon Green, former Packers running back.
I've watched Urban Meyer. I put a question mark him being a leader.
Head coach Jim Moore of UConn football.
There's no reason we can't be very successful here. And it's not going to happen overnight, but it's going to happen.
Warriors president and COO Brandon Schneider. You've seen the very beginning of staff. Oh, he just tied it.
Yep, it went in.
There it goes.
An interview I will not forget.
Cincinnati head coach Luke Fickell. You start to look at those kids in the eyes. That means a hell of a lot more than sometimes different logos and some lucrative contracts.
Lions linebacker Trey Flowers.
Playing for a coach that's very passionate about winning. You just want to play for a guy like that.
New head coach Tony Elliott, and I'm so excited to be able to usher in this new era of Virginia football. Yes, sir. Let's go, Coach. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Go
Listen in to ESPN Radio, weeknights and weekends on Sports Radio, 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend who heard it from.
All right, welcome back in TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in my own Rollo Insurance Studio. I'll be back there at the mothership as we finish up here the first hour, the go hour. Thanks for your text messages on the A&B text line. And, of course, all guests and callers join us on the BCSI hotline. It is now time for That Is Bullcrap, presented by Tom Line Plumbing. For service you can trust, consider Tom Line Plumbing, a great friend of Stephen McGee, longtime trusted plumber in and around the Brazos Valley. The website is tomlineplumbing.com. OB, are you ready for That Is Bullcrap?
Yeah, I am. And what I'm going to say is that I truly think is bullcrap, but I hope it's right. And that is that, and I shouldn't say that because I'll explain. I believe it's Pro Football Focus did a mock draft and has no Aggies in the first round of their mock draft. And I think that's major bullcrap, but I kind of hope it's right. Because if that means, think about the possibilities for my team that needs, to get better in the defensive line against the run. I could draft Marvin Leal and put him at tackle and improve against the run. And then maybe if I got lucky enough, Kenyon Green could fall to me in the second round, and I could put him at left guard where Connor Williams absolutely is a liability, and I could take care of two big problems right away if Pro Football Focus is not full of bullcrap, but alas, I think they are.
And maybe Isaiah Spiller can replace Zeke and have a young running back. How about that? You can get as many Aggies as possible.
I'd take Weidemeyer too.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be something if you took an Aggie in the first 4 rounds with each of your picks?
I think it's very possible. So, Obi, here's my bullcrap, and it's nothing to do with sports. I think it is ridiculous and bullcrap. 2 things that are happening. A, every time I go to the grocery store, it feels like a hurricane came and people are like stacking up. There's like nothing like on the shelves anymore. And I think it's because all the students are back, but like, I just want some rice. Nope. I just want some toilet paper. Nope. Like it's literally like a hurricane is about to come through and everybody bought everything. So that's part of it. And it brings me to the other part, traffic. Okay.
Well, the kids are back.
I don't like traffic. It is bad again. But the last couple of days that I've been going to read, I have noticed that it doesn't matter what time of day it is. When you're on Bush and you're on Welborn, you're going to wait. And it doesn't mean a train is always coming. It just means that whole flow is bullcrap.
Now, where'd you move here from?
Houston.
And see, you've already gotten College Stationized. Now, if it takes you 15 minutes to get somewhere, this is bullcrap.
Right? Like, I'm so used to the last month, the students haven't been around. If I want to go to the other side of town, I'm there in 12 minutes.
You got spoiled.
Winters and summers, best times in this town.
You got spoiled. But I remember what traffic was like in Austin. I remember what it was like in Nashville. So even when I'm stuck in that, takes me 20 minutes to get to work, to drive 6 minutes or 6 miles, I still count my blessings.
Hey, Dalton, I don't know. I think I got to go, right? How's my clock doing? I don't know my new clock here at the house. All right, we got to wrap it up. When we come back, hour number 2, Adam Spencer from Saturday Down South. We'll get into that. Thanks, OB. We'll see you tomorrow.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
It's not every day you can save money. Oh, wait, you can. Hi, Jenny here from Big Deals. When you shop Big Deals, you'll save money every day on dozens of gift certificates from local businesses like these.
Nestle Toll House Cafe by Chip, Socorro's Second Chance Resale Shop, Superior Auto Service, and the Chocolate Gallery. Visit AggielandBigDeals.com to save big. AggielandBigDeals.com.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors, Schulte Roofing, Prosperity Bank, Hargrove Insurance, and Rudy's Barbecue. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Listen to The Zone online at RadioAggieland.com. Don't miss Louie, Chip, TexAgs, or your favorite Aggie teams as they play on The Zone. Listen online at RadioAggieland.com. This is KCNE College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on The Zone. Construction remains on schedule at Blaine College's Rellis Campus Administration Building. Chancellor Mary Hensley told the Board of Trustees during this week's meeting that completion is still targeted for this fall.
The exterior finishes continue with brick and curtain wall installation. The interior painting is taking place on the first and second floors right now, and the in-wall inspections for the third floor are complete. And the audio-visual vendor is under contract and will begin the rough-in work this month, and the contracts and purchase orders are in process for the furniture, fixtures, and equipment, which were approved, you may recall, at our December board meeting.
On the Bryan campus, demolition has started to remove a church and 2 other other buildings on the site of the new administration building at Villa Maria in Nash. Hensley says an undisclosed number of companies have submitted a proposal to be the construction manager at risk for the $35 million project. She expects trustees will consider awarding a contract next month. There is another increase in active coronavirus cases in Brazos County, but there are fewer local hospitalizations. Yesterday's health district report shows more than 3,300 active cases and 56 hospitalized residents. More information can be found at brazoshealth.org. Bryan Mayor Andrew Nelson began his latest visit on WTAW by remembering Councilman Flynn Adcock, who unexpectedly passed away on Monday.
Certainly we have heavy hearts right now, and our thoughts and prayers are with his family.
Nelson says he doesn't think current city staff has ever had to deal with filling a vacant council seat because of a sudden death.
We're going to give the family some space and privacy to, complete their a lot of the mechanics of this week, but we're going to be saying prayers for them, and we'll get going with that probably next week when we're done kind of grieving together.
Nelson says Adcock was a good councilman who loved serving. For more news, go online to WTAW.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
My name is Bobby. I'm a veteran and lost my leg to a roadside bomb. My victory was going from a wheelchair to becoming a weightlifting champion.
I'm Sam. I'm a veteran. My victory was finding a career I can be proud of and supporting my family.
America's veterans are on their most important tour, the tour of their lives.
I'm a veteran. My victory was going from homeless to home.
At DAV, we're on a mission to help veterans get the benefits they've earned.
I'm a veteran, and my victory was finishing my education.
DAV offers veterans of all generations a lifetime of support for victories great and small.
My victory was proving that disability is not a limitation.
My victory was getting my service dog a new best friend.
We help more than 1 million veterans every year as they face and conquer their challenges.
My victory is being able to be there for my family.
When America's veterans win, we all win. Help us support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. The Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. A tough loss for Texas A&M men's basketball last night as it fell to 12th-ranked Kentucky 64-58 at Reed. Backed by a record-breaking crowd of 14,000-plus, the Aggies jumped out to a large lead in the first half, only to see it evaporate down the stretch. Coach Buzz Williams.
It's hard to win when you shoot 4% from three or 39% from the free throw line. But specific to the things that we wanted to try to accomplish, the 4 things that we thought were priorities to give us a chance, I thought we tried really hard.
The Aggies entered the game leading the SEC in three-pointers, but made just 1 of 22 attempts. With the loss, they fall to 15-3 overall and 4-1 in conference play. Tonight it'll be the Texas A&M women's turn as they welcome Ole Miss to town. The Maroon and White are fresh off their first SEC victory of the year, a 71-53 walloping of Auburn. Tip-off against the Lady Rebs is at 7 o'clock at Reed with broadcast right here on The Zone. Out on the tennis courts, the number 19 Aggie men opened up their dual match season with a bang yesterday, bowling over Arizona State 5-2 in Tempe. The guys return home Saturday for the ITA kickoff weekend. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
You can listen to Aggie football, basketball, and baseball on your Amazon Dot or Echo. Step 1, say, Alexa, enable Zone 1150 skill. Step 2, anytime you want to hear fighting Texas Aggie football, Texas A&M women's basketball, or Aggie baseball, all you have to do is say, Alexa, play Zone 1150. It's that simple to listen to your favorite A&M teams that play on the Zone with your Amazon Dot or Echo. Make sure to say one time, Alexa, enable Zone 1150 skill. Then say, Alexa, play Zone 1150.
That's right. Reality check, you know what I mean? Street lights, innit? Dookie. Scorpion. Yeah. When I was young, I used to dream of being rich. Having a lot of houses and cars, couldn't know which one was which. And finding me a chick and getting hitched. Living the fairy tale life, perfect without a glitch. You think that this will bring me happiness? If at the end of every rainbow there was a treasure chest. Sometimes having more is really less. Take a look inside yourself, you realize you're really blessed. No matter how you're sad and blue.
All right, welcome back in. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in hour number 2 here in the Rollo Insurance Studio, the makeshift version of that studio. I'm home just because I came into contact with somebody. That's the world we live in today, but we appreciate Rollo Insurance and everything that they do for us. They're the official insurance provider of TexAgs Radio. The difference is real. They're an independent insurance company built around educating you on exactly what you're paying for, doing the shopping for you so that you can accomplish all of your insurance goals. Their headquarters is in College Station on Highway 6, and you can visit them online at rolloinsurance.com or go to 888-44 Rollo. All right, so obviously the big topic today on the program, A&M Kentucky last night, a game where the Ags looked good defensively. Offensively, they certainly struggled, had a chance to win, led most of that game. Looked like they were going to be able to get it done, but they just weren't able to do it. Let's get an SEC basketball perspective from Adam Spencer of Saturday Down South here on the program. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. How's it going today?
Good, man. So what did you think of the Ags performance last night, the atmosphere there at Reed Arena, a team not known for basketball recently, I should say, at least as of last year, but what they were able to do against Kentucky?
Yeah, I mean, that atmosphere was legit. Like, that was every bit as intense of an SEC atmosphere as there is out there. And I think that that's a lot of credit to, what Buzz Williams has built there, and just the fans showing up, the fans, getting rowdy. I mean, when Kentucky comes to town, it's supposed to be a big deal. That's SEC basketball. John Calipari was saying after the game, every time we go somewhere, it's a white out or it's a blue out or it's a red, they're doing something special. And that's the way it should be for Kentucky. Kentucky's earned that, but credit to the Aggie fans for showing up and actually making it that case. There was no, empty seats with T-shirts on the backs of it, as we see at like some Miami Heat games sometimes and stuff. So, it was a great atmosphere, but, basketball is a really simple game at the end of the day, and you got to make shots, and neither team was doing that very well the other night, but Kentucky made a couple more down the stretch, and that old nemesis, the free throw line, came back to haunt Texas A&M.
Adam, so I get to see all the Aggie games, and there was a belief in this team from before last night's game, but I'm wondering nationally and for you personally, did A&M prove anything to you last night, even though they did lose?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they proved that they could hang tough with anybody. And, there are no moral victories or anything, but, this is still a good result. That was still a good showing, to stay that close on a night when, you make 1 3-pointer out of 22 and shoot less than 40% from the free throw line. Like, they should have been blown out of the water in that game, like Tennessee was against Kentucky the other day. But credit to the defense. I thought it was a good defensive effort, and just to be able to hang tough in that game. Again, no moral victories, but this is ahead of where, this team was supposed to be at this point based on last year and just how bad and inconsistent they were last year. To have this sort of result is actually like pretty encouraging. And now the important thing becomes the next game. Like, you can't get up this high for that game and then have a letdown the next game. So it's all about that next game now. And I bet Buzz Williams has his guys ready to go, though.
Yeah, and I think this next game is big on multiple levels. They're taking on Arkansas, a team on the road, by the way, a team that they've already beaten. Arkansas, a team that looks like they found their mojo. So I guess from both perspectives, this game is huge, because if Arkansas is still trying to get to that elite level, they got to beat A&M. And A&M, if they get 2 on Arkansas, maybe they move into that spot of one of those final tier teams in the NCAA tournament from the SEC.
Yeah, I mean, I think, both of them are on the bubble in Joe Lunardi's latest projections and stuff. So this is a very important game at this point in the season. Obviously, win or lose, there's still time for both schools to get their way back into the top half of the standings. And but still at this point, you want to have that resume boosting win, and right now that would be that for both teams. It'd be a quad 1 win for both teams, and those are so important to the committee come Selection Sunday. So I think that going into Arkansas maybe would have been seen as a tougher task last year, but we just saw Vanderbilt go in there and beat them earlier this year, so they're vulnerable. This is not an Elite 8 level Arkansas team like it was last year. There's still plenty of talent on that team, but they're just not quite as good as they were last year. And, when you have a guy like Moses Moody, who's a lottery pick on the team last year, they don't have that guy this year. So, they're vulnerable. But I mean, it just comes back to the shooting. They're going to have to make more shots, like from the free throw line and the 3-point line. And, I'm not super worried about that performance from three, because they were the best 3-point shooting team in the SEC entering last night's game. I don't think that'll be the case anymore after that. But I think they'll bounce back from deep at least. And then it just comes down to the free throw line.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Let's talk Henry Coleman. What have you seen from him in his short time at A&M in this transfer era that we live in, and leaving Duke and coming here? And really, since SEC play started, he has been a force.
Yeah, I mean, they were saying that on the broadcast last night. He's seemingly getting better when SEC play gets going, and that's impressive to see. Some of these guys feast against mid-major opponents and then aren't as hot when they face the big boys in their league. But Henry Coleman's just doing his thing. He's he's a solid player. He reminds me of a guy that they had a couple years ago down there at A&M who I forget his name right now, but just like a wing guy who just seemingly put up 16 and 8 like every night. And that's
Joseph Jones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's he's got a lot of that in him. And, he's just a super consistent guy. You can rely on him to get you those points and those rebounds. And then, what you're getting from him. And that's a nice thing to have, especially in the college game where, you can have so many different guys be hot and super cold on any given night. To just have that consistency is something that you can really build around.
Hey, from a Kentucky perspective, they get another tough one. They're going to be at Auburn. I believe that game's at Auburn. That game there, what it means for both teams. Auburn could be the number one team in the country. They're 2 right now. Just your thoughts on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be another incredible road atmosphere. I mean, right now, I think that Auburn Arena home court advantage is the best one in the SEC. When Auburn is this good, I mean, nobody shows up to support a team like Auburn fans when Auburn's good. So it's a small gym. The fans are right there on top of you, kind of like Cameron Indoor. So that's going to be an electric atmosphere there in Auburn. And this was a good test for Kentucky, though. To get this road win in this fashion and in that environment in Reed Arena again. I was so impressed with Texas A&M fans showing up and showing out for that game and being loud. And that was a good test for Kentucky, though. I just think that Auburn has too much depth. Like, I haven't seen a top team. You look at Gonzaga this year, they go like 7 deep, maybe 8 deep. Auburn can go like 11 deep, and that's just insane in this era of basketball. And to have that many guys who can contribute legitimately to a potential number one team is interesting to see. And I love the way that Bruce Pearl uses his minutes, uses his guys, and I can't wait to see Walker Kessler versus Oscar Tshiebwe.
Are they the best team in the country, in your opinion?
Oh yeah. If you have Auburn outside of your top 4 in your AP poll vote, I mean, what are you doing? I don't get it. Like, you can't look at them and just say that they're not one of the number 1 seeds in the NCAA tournament if the tournament started tomorrow. Honestly, I think if you have them outside of your top 2, it's questionable. So, yeah, they're the number 1 team right now based on what they've done. And if they pick up that Kentucky win, though, I think that they will finally leapfrog Gonzaga just based on resume.
Hey, so I was casually paying attention, but I didn't see what happened. But Will Wade last night, I guess he lost his temper, got a technical, and afterwards I saw the press conference. He was, I guess lost his temper a little bit there as well. Just can you kind of shed some light on what exactly happened and what caused that outburst?
I think he was a little upset with some perceived home cooking for Alabama from the refs there. I'm sure as SEC fans know, in every sport, it just seems like Alabama gets some calls in Tuscaloosa that they might not get elsewhere. But that's the nature of the beast. And, he was upset there. It was a swing. It was a crucial point of the game. And, foul went against LSU. Then there was some contact that Alabama didn't get called for, and then LSU got whistled for another foul, and that's when he decided, hey, I'm I'm gonna let my displeasure be heard here. And he was close to getting that second technical too. So he, it was a tough loss for them. But I mean, man, that was such a physical game. And LSU lost Darius Days during the game. They were down Xavier Pinson from earlier. So it's just if they get healthy, they'll be fine. It's just a stretch of the year where it's just like they're beat up right now.
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, this SEC grind that's happening right now, Alabama had their rough stretch. LSU's kind of in the middle of one right now. A&M gets their first loss. These top-tier teams, they're really jockeying for position right now.
Oh, yeah, and I think, this weekend is going to be so big. Like you said, A&M goes to Arkansas. We have Auburn hosting Kentucky. Like, those games are huge. And, it's still early. They're still not even halfway through their SEC schedule, but these are the games that add up whenever you get down to that like last couple weeks of the season. And it's like, oh man, I wish we would have had that one. And these are some of these games that you circle on that calendar this weekend and say, we got to have these.
So Bama yesterday, they needed that one, obviously. Do they still have the same luster you feel coming into the season, the great season that they had last year? And this last stretch has not been very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, so if you look at last night's game, the first half is their ceiling. Like they were hitting shots, they were hitting contested threes. Then I think after halftime, they missed 9 free throws and all 15 of their threes. Like that's the Alabama season in a nutshell in 2 halves. When they're hitting their threes, they can beat Gonzaga, they can beat Houston as they did. When they're missing those shots, they can lose to Davidson, they can lose to Iona, and they can lose to LSU. But, fortunately last night for them, LSU was beat up and, they had done enough in that first half to stay close and be able to grind it out down the stretch. But it's just a consistency issue at Alabama. Their best is among the best in the country. Their worst is a very mediocre SEC team.
So what about Tennessee? I really don't have a gauge on them. I know they came in with a lot of hype, and the blowout is still in my mind from their Kentucky beatdown this past weekend. But where do you see them in the pecking order of SEC play?
Yeah, I mean they're a top half team. Their losses are not they don't have really any bad losses. Like they've just played some tough teams. Like that loss to Kentucky was lopsided, but I mean you could put like the worst NBA team up there against Kentucky on that day. I mean, Saturday they were playing for Joe B. Hall, and they if a team shoots 69% from the floor, there's not much you're going to be able to do to stop them on any given night. So Tennessee, they take too many threes. They're baffling on offense sometimes. John Fulkerson, I'm not sure what's going on with him. He's been highly inconsistent this year. But their defense plays. They're the second best defense in the SEC. I don't know if that's still true after allowing 107 points to Kentucky, but they were entering that game the second best defense in the SEC. And, when you have that, that'll play. That keeps LSU in a lot of these games when their offense is struggling. That's going to keep Tennessee in a lot of games. So right now they're still solidly a tournament team based on some of the wins that they have. But I do need to see a little bit more consistency from them on offense, I'd say.
What about Florida? Have they found their rhythm?
Yeah, that was a big win last night. Without Colin Castleton on the floor. And, they have Gatkek, who showed that he can play some quality minutes. And, they're going to have to find some more minutes for him, even when Castleton returns, because he held his own out there. Kawasi Reeves, I mean, that's a name to keep an eye on moving forward because he's really taken a step forward. He's shown some ability to create his own shots, which is something Florida desperately needs. So if he can keep playing like that, then Florida's gonna be a riser. That was a huge win over. That was similar to this upcoming Texas A&M Arkansas game. That was the battle of 2 teams on the bubble, and Mississippi State controlled for most of the game, but Florida was up at the only time that it matters, really.
Hey, so I've heard you kind of talk about the top tier of the SEC. How many teams do you think ultimately do get into the tournament? Is this a 6-team conference? Is it 7, potentially 8?
Yeah, I think it's for sure going to get 6. And, I think Alabama's still there. I think Auburn, Kentucky obviously are in. LSU, Alabama, Tennessee. I think Texas A&M's right there. So like the 3 that there's really 4 that could get in outside of that top 5. There's the 4 teams that are right on Lunardi's bubble right now: Arkansas, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, and Florida. And I would bet that at least 2 of those teams get in at the end of the day. And then, the third team, I don't think all 4 will get in. So we'll see someone separate from the pack there in a negative way. But I think that there could be up to 8 teams from the SEC in, but I'd bet 7.
7 and 8 teams, that'd be great. So I guess last thing for you, Buzz Williams, he's had to remake this team. He was the SEC Coach of the Year a couple years ago. Last year was a obviously rough year, and COVID hit them harder than some other programs. What about the job he has done redoing this team, completely new roster, and still playing with the same kind of grit that he expects?
Oh, yeah. I think he played the transfer portal even better than Eric Musselman this year. And, you look at some of these teams that brought, like Missouri brought in a ton of transfers, and, there wasn't really a plan there. It doesn't seem like. It's just, could we get some guys? Some of Florida's transfers have been hit or miss. But, everyone that Buzz Williams brought in fits the mold of the guy that he wants. And that's, credit to him for really finding those guys, convincing him to come to College Station, and now coaching them up. And, we're seeing that, like, Musselman brought in a lot of talent, but it hasn't really been cohesive outside of this past week. And, Buzz Williams has had his guys ready to go from the opening tip. So, I really think that he's done a great job. And, outside of Bruce Pearl, he's probably right there on the Coach of the Year conversation right now.
Adam Spencer from Saturday Down South there on the BCSI hotline. Adam, appreciate it, man. Let's do it again.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Thank you very, very much. All right, we'll continue with our Texas A&M Kentucky dialogue. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can text us on the A&B text line, 979-693-1150. What did last night do for you? Do you kind of believe in them more? I know moral victories aren't the topic we want to get into, but a game where A&M missed most of their threes, all of them, basically. Their free throws were atrocious, yet they still led for most of that game, had a chance to win down the stretch. Do you believe a little bit more after seeing this product against a top-notch team? Right now, let's talk about Heritage Films and Chance McClain. I was actually on the phone with him yesterday, and it was interesting. So Heritage Films, they do documentary films about you, your father, your uncle, and they make them like Netflix style, right? They're just incredible. And we're talking a little bit about the kind of clients he's been getting, and he threw me out these numbers, which I was blown away by. All right, so 2% of his clients have an affiliation to the University of Texas. Either they went to Texas or the subject that he's doing the story went to Texas, right? 2% went to Rice. LSU is 6% of his clients. And here comes Texas A&M. About 100 films he's done. 42% of his clients are Aggies. And that speaks a lot to us, guys. We care about our stories. At other schools, whatever, right? But at A&M, it is very important to us for our story to be told and told the right way. And that's why I think Chance McClain is the way to go. Heritage Films gets that story done. No longer do you have to play the game of telephone about your dad's story. He gets captured on film, first-class style. And I'm telling you guys, this is an incredible experience. The kind of documentary, I'm talking like Hollywood-esque. Like, I'm not just thinking, using your iPhone. I'm talking like a legit documentary. He'll do that. Check out the website, yourheritagefilm.com. Yourheritagefilm.com. 713-893-8341. 713-893-8341.
This is Aggieland's only all-sports station.
Let's play, fellas.
The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
We're here with Jason Rollo of Rollo Insurance. Jason, when we say the difference is real, what does that mean?
Well, first of all, when we use the term real, we're speaking about being genuine. And I think that anyone who does something in a good way has to be genuine. But also when I think about the term real, I think about rates, education, assets, and life. Many people think that insurance is about rates. Although that's important, it's actually about education of what you're buying to protect your assets, and we want to do that for the life of the client.
For more information, go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs.
When you have trouble sleeping, it's tough. When kids have trouble sleeping,
Mom, I can't sleep. Dad, just one more story?
For nights like this, try Vicks Pure Z's Kids. Our great-tasting gummies are specially formulated for kids with a unique blend of botanicals and a low dose of melatonin to support their natural sleep cycle. Best of all, they're drug-free and non-habit-forming. Help your child fall asleep naturally with Pure Z's Kids Gummies. Consult with a doctor before use. For ages 4 and up.
Reading is fundamental. The nation's largest children's literacy organization invites you to rally our children to read. Visit rallytoread.org and help your child pledge to read 100 books by Read Across America Day in March 2022. Also, watch well-known authors read their favorite books. Find activities to keep young readers motivated, and teachers can enter the Rally to Read sweepstakes for a chance to win 100 books for their own school, subject to rules. Inspire your child to read. Visit rallytoread.org today.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors. Lance Lester at the Lester Group, Zwerneman Flooring, The Sleep Station, and Twin Peaks. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
I'm not making excuses for Dak or anybody, because I think we would be objective and honest about how we felt about something, especially if the body of work of that particular athlete didn't contradict what you hear in that moment when he is emotional. But typically after you lose a game like that, where you feel a lot of pressure, right, from a lot of different ways, you just got the bag, your team is projected with the talent that you have to win the Super Bowl, you feel the pressure for your coach, Mike McCarthy, you feel the pressure for your owner, Jerry Jones, you're emotional. Afterwards, though, when you start watching the tape and you're at home up until 4 o'clock in the morning, like, damn, 14 penalties, that amount of 89 yards. You start finding the real reasons why you were in that position in the first place, and you go back and like, all right, I didn't need to say that.
You start looking in the mirror.
Yeah, you start looking at things a little bit more objectively, because the emotion is taken out of the equation. You can come back down to reality.
Spend your mornings with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor. Mornings from 5 to 8 here on The Zone.
All right, guys, do you believe? Welcome in. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. I'm at home today. I'll be at home probably tomorrow as well. I'm just trying to keep everybody safe there at TexAgs. I came into contact with somebody who has it, so no big deal. I'm not showing anything. I'm all good here. So hopefully I can get back to the studio here soon enough. But yeah, just came into contact with somebody. So that's why the show looks and sounds a little different. Appreciate everybody joining us on the A&B text line and the BCSI hotline. I'm going to ask you guys, though, do you believe that last night do anything to make you believe a little bit more? And the reason I say that is I believed in this team, right? I did. But I needed to see it against high level, and they did it. They did that last night, and they didn't ultimately do it because they didn't win. But what they did do was, on a day where they could not hit anything, that defense frustrated Kentucky. Now, they talked a lot about how Kentucky wasn't shooting well. Well, a lot of that is because A&M's defense put them in some bad spots. That trap was incredible. And their offense, what did work was attacking the rim. And they kind of got away from that towards the end. And Kentucky's defense did change the way A&M had to do that. But they certainly, to me, prove that they can hang with anybody. They absolutely can hang with anybody, and they need to go do it. They need to go do it more often, and they got to finish these games, and they have done such a good job of that. But I want them to do it against these quad one schools, these schools that people are expecting you to lose to, because this next stretch, I don't know if you should beat Arkansas. I think you can beat Arkansas, and you might beat Arkansas. You've got to go do what you did yesterday on the defensive side on the road, where you got to hit some shots. You got to hit your free throws. You got to hit some shots. You can't hit 38% from the free throw line and expect to win. Jim on the A&B text line says, Jim in Temple, awesome crowd and atmosphere at Reed last night. Couldn't ask for much more from the pressure, defense, the steals, the turnovers, etc., the transition, attacking, but we lack complementary basketball. 5 of 13 from the foul stripe is inexcusable. Whatever each player's routine is, think of it, 15 unguarded shots. It's that way in any gym, home or road. We have to convert way more 3 balls than 1 of 22, like Josh Carter, AC Law did for Billy Clyde, Gillespie, and company. Yeah, I agree. Just a normal shooting game, and A&M wins that game by 6 to 10 points. Thank you, Jim and Temple. Appreciate that. Yeah, I do. I do agree. You just said a couple, and I think the end of the first half, while it wasn't catastrophic, kind of set the tone for the second half. I forget what the exact number that Olin gave us, but it was basically a 13-2 run if you combine the beginning of the the second half and the end of the first half. And A&M was up at 10 at one point, and within the flash of an eye, you're basically tied. So that to me really set the tone for how the game was played beyond that. But you hit some free throws, hit some threes, easier said than done, but they must do that. They've got to improve that area in order to be able to win these games and ensure an opportunity into the NCAA tournament. Right now, caller number one, we're going to give you a free car wash there from Aggieland Express Car Wash in South College Station. They're off of William D. Fitch in Greens Prairie. Aggie owned and operated with the friendliest staff and the personal touch. They offer a monthly membership, but we're going to give the first caller a free car wash right now from Aggieland Express in South College Station. 979-693-1150.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. Blinn Theater Troupe presents The Revolutionists. Performances run January 27th through the 30th. Purchase tickets online at blinn.edu/box office. The Government in Action Youth Tour is back. High school students can win an all-expense-paid trip to Washington, D.C. through BTU. Apply online by February 1st at btutilities.com/youth tour. The Children's Museum invites you to enjoy an enchanted evening with your little sweetheart as the daddy-daughter dance takes over the Stella Hotel on February 4th and 5th. Purchase tickets at cmbv.org. Help the Brazos Valley Food Bank bring hope to the table. Go online to bvfb.org. You can call or text the Louis Bellina Show weekdays from 11 to 2 at 979-693-1150. Visit with Louis on the Smoothie King hotline or win a Rudy's gift card and other great prizes by calling 979-693-1150. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Since 1957, Slovakic Sausage in Snook has been making the best tasting sausage in Texas from the same family recipe. Slovakic is the official sausage of Texas A&M athletics. Whether it's from the grill to the family gathering or from the pit to the neighborhood party, serve the sausage voted best in the Brazos Valley. Serve Slovakic. Be sure to come in and check out their full-service meat market, relax on the front porch, or grab some fresh kolaches from their bakery on your way out. Slovakic Sausage, Highway 60 in Snook.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
It's not every day you can save money. Oh, wait, you can. Hi, Jenny here from Big Deals. When you shop Big Deals, you'll save money every day on dozens of gift certificates from local businesses like these.
Fajita Pete's, Front Street Burgers, Scoots, and Horseshoe Junction Family Fun Park. Visit AggielandBigDeals.com to save big. AggielandBigDeals.com.
Chronic pain gets in life's way. But now you can fight back with chronic strength using the VIM app from the Arthritis Foundation. You'll find tips and tools to help you manage your chronic pain, set achievable goals, and be a part of a community that offers support. With the Arthritis Foundation's free VIM app, you'll take back what chronic pain has taken away. Download VIM at arthritis.org/VIM. That's arthritis.org/VIM.
Hi there, everybody. I would like to invite you out to our next Lunch with Louie, and that's me. It is on Friday, January 28th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. The Louis Bellina Show is going to be live from the T-Mobile on Texas Avenue in Lincoln. Stop by, free lunch. It's on us, and you're guaranteed to win a great prize. Our next Lunch with Louie is Friday, January 28th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's the Louis Bellina Show live. Get a lunch, win a great prize, stop by and say hi.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left. Cause I've been blasting and laughing so long that even my mama.
Gangster's Paradise? What? Coolio, welcome into TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. I'm here in my own Rollo Insurance studio, quarantining because I came into contact with somebody. All good. We're still going to be talking some hoops. We're still going to be breaking down all things college football and beyond, even NFL. It is now time for Around College Football and Basketball, presented by Milliken Reserve, a College Station College Station community featuring homes, trails, farms, and wide open spaces with a mission to build a healthy community around nature. Take part in the Milliken Reserve community with a Conservancy membership. Learn more at millikenreserve.com. With that, we go to the BCSI hotline. Aaron Torres of Aaron Torres Online and Fox Sports Radio. Good morning, sir.
David, I hope you're doing well. When I heard you were in studio today, I thought maybe you had too much fun after the game last night, but I hope you're doing well. Hope you're safe. Hope your family's safe, all that good stuff.
Yeah, man, all good here. Just came into contact with somebody. I'll be back in studio here soon enough. Feel amazing. Feel normal. Well, I guess whatever a 45-year-old should feel like. So AT,
Never
let's
looked
talk.
better, personally. Just my opinion, but anyway, neither here nor there.
Hey, that atmosphere last night, man. I'm sure you were watching. What did you think about Reed Arena and the way Aggie fans and the Aggie basketball team brought it, at least defensively?
Oh, it was an awesome, and I know they talked about it during the broadcast, but I mean, this is what we were missing in sports last year. And I think it was, frankly, what Texas A&M basketball was missing last year. And I know the last 2 or 3 weeks, as we've kind of ramped up conversation about basketball in general, I watched from a distance like everybody else last year with Texas A&M, trying to figure out what's going wrong. Buzz Williams wins SEC Coach of the Year in the 2019-2020 season, takes a major step back. And I think we saw last night the impact that a great fan base and a great home court can have. I think credit to Kentucky for going and getting the win, but I think credit to the fans for showing up, credit to the players for delivering. And I think it's nothing but a positive going forward for A&M. I mean, I know that, you beat Arkansas and Arkansas is struggling. You have a couple other wins and everyone's trying to figure out how good you are. Obviously, you're at home. It's a little bit of a different deal. But Kentucky's a legitimate top 15 team. They go on the road this weekend to Auburn, so we're going to learn if they're a legitimate top 5 team or not. But if you can perform like that in that kind of environment against that kind of team, I think it bodes well for pretty much everybody else in the SEC that you're going to face throughout the season.
Aaron Torres on the BCSI hotline. Aaron, you brought up I asked you about it, Reed Arena and how crazy it was. Compare that to what's going on at UCLA. And for those who don't know, kind of explain, they're playing to an empty crowd very often.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing. It's a little frustrating. I do live here in Los Angeles and somebody was chirping at me the other day. What you read on the news, what you read on whatever is not factual. I went to a couple Dodgers playoff games during October. People were going crazy. It was a full house, packed stadium. I actually had gone to a few UCLA games early this year. People are ready to move on with their lives, but unfortunately, I believe it's the UC school system, so it's basically UCLA, Cal Berkeley, a few other schools right now are not allowing fans in the stands. It was basically the last 2 weeks, when there's been an uptick in cases and all that nonsense that you guys don't want to hear about right now. The good news is I do suspect they're supposed to revisit this ruling this weekend, the 21st. So I guess that's tomorrow. And I think it'll be interesting because ironically, UCLA and Arizona are 2 top 10 teams and they're the 2 best teams in the Pac-12 probably. And UCLA hosts Arizona next week in a makeup game that was supposed to be played during December that got canceled because of COVID. But then the following week, UCLA goes to Arizona. And Arizona, like much of the country, has no limitations in fans. And so I'm actually positive, I know for a fact, there's some lobbying behind the scenes that we shouldn't have to host Arizona with no fans, and they shouldn't have to be able to host us with a full house. And I think, Mick Cronin spoke about it in the media the other day. The Rams hosted a playoff game with 80,000 people the other night. Lakers have full capacity. But then also, we follow these sports, David, and we know the difference. I mean, 2 losses there for UCLA could cost them a conference championship. It could cost them seeding in the NCAA tournament. It could cost a lot of different things for a lot of different people. It could cost kids draft position. I mean, if a kid for UCLA, if they're a 6 seed instead of a 2 seed because they got screwed by their own administration, you lose in the first round. That's exposure for the team. That's obviously money for the school. It's exposure for the players. So there's a lot at stake here, and I hope they overrule it. But, yeah, it's been something a lot of people are asking me about. A couple schools in California are the only ones, but they're playing without fans right now. And it goes without saying, I think we all kind of think it's kind of a joke at this point.
Aaron, does A&M have the look of a tournament team in your eyes?
I think there's no doubt. And a couple things. One, I do think there's probably a top 2, maybe a top 3 in the SEC. I still think LSU is really good. I mean, they were down their starting point guard last night, and then their second leading scorer left the game with an injury. So I know we love to poke at Will Wade, and justifiably so. He's done a lot of stuff that warrants, vitriol from opposing fan bases, but I think they're really good. But I bring it up because I think after you get past that first tier, I don't think a lot of these teams are as good as we thought they were. Arkansas, who I know A&M plays this weekend, it'll be interesting to see them. It'll be interesting to see if they've really improved, or did they just kind of hit a soft spot in their schedule as A&M gets set to face them. But A&M obviously already has a win over them. Alabama, to me, looks like a team that's really still trying to figure themselves out. They won last night, but it was a sloppy game. Florida still trying to figure themselves out. Mississippi State probably isn't as good as a lot of people thought in the preseason. So, I think they were talking about on the broadcast last night, I think A&M was picked to finish 13th in the league. And you start to look at how some of those older veteran transfer guys are playing, Radford, Coleman, Marcus Williams, etc. I don't see a reason why they can't finish in 5th, 4th, 6th, somewhere in that range in the SEC. And if you do that, you're going to be an NCAA tournament team.
What are your thoughts this weekend, this heavyweight showdown we're going to get between Auburn and Kentucky? I mean, Auburn, to me, is the best team in the country. Kentucky's got incredible talent built differently than we've seen in years past. What do you think?
Well, I agree with the first thing that you said. Is I think Auburn's the best team in the country, and I try to watch as much as I can. But I've been of this belief that there's no best team. Like last year, there was 2 teams that were clearly better than everybody else. But every time Auburn takes the court, it's making it harder and harder for people like me to justify saying that. They might just be the best team in college basketball. But Kentucky, I think, is really, really, really good too. And it's kind of interesting, right? Because it's like a chicken and the egg thing with Kentucky is they really don't have great wins on their resume right now. And so when you say they're good, well, who've they beaten? And I think it's kind of the opposite. I think because they haven't beaten anybody, up until the last week or so, you dominate Tennessee and then you have a really solid win against A&M. I don't think people are giving them the credit they deserve because they don't have those marquee wins. And so, as far as I'm concerned, obviously it's a huge game for both. I think both are really good. I don't think barring a blowout, I'm going to feel fundamentally worse about either team coming out of this game. But I do think if Auburn dominates, I think there's no reason that they shouldn't be the number 1 ranked team in the country in this game. I think if Kentucky goes and wins on the road, it's going to be the justification that last year where people remember, but whether I forget it was 9-15, 9-16, whatever they ended with, it was the worst season of the Calipari era. So I think we're going to learn a lot. I do think they're the 2 best teams in the SEC, but I do still think Kentucky is looking for that super signature win that leaves 0 doubt. 2 great wins back-to-back, dominating Tennessee, beating A&M on the road. Now you win at Auburn, that completely changes the paradigm of how people see this team.
All right, what about the University of Texas? Chris Beard was supposed to be the savior. They were supposed to win, and he might end up. I mean, I think he's a great coach. There's no doubt about that. But they lose to K-State. They have not looked good this season at times. What is your take when it comes to Texas?
Well, a couple things. First of all, let me ask you, David Nuno. You live in Texas. You've covered all these schools. Why can't anybody win at Texas, man? And like you said, it's year 1. It could change, but this guy, I mean, if this guy crashes and burns, they just need to shut down that athletic department and focus on whatever, the band or whatever. I mean, what is it? Because, by the way, it's not like, all the best players are leaving Texas. A&M has improved. TCU has improved. Baylor is awesome. Houston is awesome. So what is it? What explain it to me. I want the insider's take.
I would tell you that it's the administration. I would tell you it's the people surrounding the program and they're feeling the snug attitude that they have about everything. And I'd almost equate it to how Jerry Jones meddles. I think they've got a bunch of meddlers.
Sure. Well, it's actually very interesting you say that. And that's my opinion too, but I'm always loving to hear, your opinion, people that are closer to it than I am. But I remember when they lost to Kansas and, on my podcast, I did a big rant about, the problem isn't Sark. It's not the defense. It's not Casey Thompson, who was the quarterback at the time. It's the fans, because that was the time. Is Sark the guy? We have to change the defensive coaching staff. And you know this as well as anybody. The listeners know this as well as anybody. When you change year over year over year, the head coach, in football, the coordinators, whatever it is, there's no continuity. And why do guys struggle in the NFL or in college or wherever? It's because there's constant change. And so I said, give Sark 3 years. I don't care. Give him till year 3. If it doesn't work, whatever. But don't change up the staff. If he thinks they're the guy, whatever. that's the point I'm trying to make. So with Chris Beard, I think I'll say I think a couple things. First of all, and I'm as guilty of this as anybody, is I follow the portal really closely in football and maybe even more closely in basketball because this is the new world that we live in. Kentucky has turned their program into a top 10 team because of the portal. Auburn has 2 or 3 transfer starters. But by the way, Henry Coleman, Marcus Williams, right? I mean, it's not A&M is a perfect example. But I was as guilty as anybody of looking at the guys that Texas now, going back to Texas, brought in this offseason, a bunch of all-conference caliber players. And somebody told me this, and I think it's true, none of them really came from winning programs. Marcus Carr didn't win at Minnesota. Timmy Allen didn't win at Utah. Trey Mitchell didn't win at UMass. But then, 2, how do all these really great individual talents work well together? And I think there's a difference, as always, between putting together the best roster and a team that works well together. And so I'm by no means giving up on Chris Beard, but you bring in 4 or 5 all-conference caliber players, and now you're asking them to all play a different role than they've ever played. I think it's a challenge. It's certainly a challenge that they could potentially overcome, but I also think it's worth noting that this is the quote-unquote easy part of their conference schedule. They haven't played Kansas yet. They'll play Kansas twice. They haven't played Baylor yet. They'll play Baylor twice. By the way, they got 2 games against Texas Tech, so Texas Tech will be fired up for that. So it's easy to say it's year 1, it's Chris Beard, we trust them, blah, 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 blah. But, you look at where they are. They don't have any real signature wins to speak of. And the fact that the tough part of the schedule is coming up, I don't think there's too many Longhorn fans listening to us right now, David, but if I were a Longhorn fan, I'd be concerned.
Hey, did you know, because I did not know, Rasheed Wallace was involved in coaching with Penny Hardaway. I saw the news that he is with the team, but not because of some health-related issues. I don't know what's going on, but I caught my attention, especially you tweeted about it. What's going on there with Penny and Sheed?
Yeah, well, Sheed isn't Penny Hardaway last year was flirting with NBA teams, kind of like what Harbaugh's doing right now. And I don't know if he had any concrete offer on the table, but I think it was part leverage on the school to kind of bring in the staff that he wanted. And so Larry Brown, the infamous Larry Brown, formerly of SMU and a million other places, is an assistant there. And then Rasheed Wallace was brought in really late in the process. And so Rasheed Wallace had no coaching experience that I know of. I think he was actually set to coach in high school, comes to college, and was an assistant at Memphis. And so I was told this morning it was a medical thing, COVID protocols, but that he's not coming back to the team. So it makes you wonder, he's either really, really, really sick, or they're using it as an excuse because he doesn't really want to be there. And all I would say is, I don't think we see it as much in football necessarily, but in basketball, a lot of these guys come from the NBA. Patrick Ewing struggling at Georgetown, Chris Mullen at St. John's for several years. And I just don't think they understand what coaching in college is like, the recruiting, the 365 days a year, the getting on an airplane in basketball to go sit in a gym at 6 a.m. to a prospect that you can't even talk to. You and I know that because we've been doing this for years. But, and I was talking to somebody else about this with Rasheed Wallace, and I don't know his specific situation, but everybody who says they want to get into coaching, some of these NBA guys got $100 million in the bank. And listen, I can't speak for you. I don't know what the checks are coming in from TexAgs on a weekend, the direct deposits on every 2 weeks. But, you're making a couple $100,000. That sounds great to you and I, or at least to me. I don't know if it sounds great to a guy that's got 60, 70, $80 million in the bank. Then now he's got to go get on a plane at 6 a.m. and go watch a high school kid that's not going to commit to him, that he can't even talk to, and then get on a plane back and be at practice by 2 p.m. So it's a weird deal. They've tried to sell it as, we're an NBA pipeline, or we're going to build you up, get you ready for the NBA. But they've been a disaster, and they're really, I think, as disappointing as anybody in college basketball, except obviously maybe those Texas Longhorns. So.
Hey, last thing for you, Cliff. Do you think he should keep his gig there, Cliff Kingsbury?
Yeah, it's so tough because, I saw all the stats. I saw, his record down the stretch. And listen, I certainly remember him from Texas A&M where he didn't win with Patrick Mahomes, where Baker Mayfield left because he got benched. This year with Arizona was weird, though. Like, it's hard for me to lump in this year with Arizona with everything else that he's done in his career, because there's kind of a direct correlation between when DeAndre Hopkins got hurt and when Cliff Kingsbury nosedived. And so, I don't know. I would probably give him another year. It's not my money. You know what I wouldn't give another year to, though, is Mike McCarthy, man. I mean, the thing with the Cowboys really quick, and I don't want to get too far off the side tangent here, with Diggs and Micah Parsons on rookie contracts, their window to win big is probably this year and next year, or next year and probably the following. They got like 2 years to win a Super Bowl. And Jerry's going to do, like you said, he likes to meddle. He likes yes men. He doesn't like guys that push back. I think their window is like the next 18 months to 24 months to win a Super Bowl. And if they don't do it, it isn't going to happen with this group of guys. And so, Cliff, I'd say probably give him another year. But Mike McCarthy, man, I'm telling you, like now is the time. Cut bait. You got 2 years when all these CD Lamb's another one on a rookie contract. Get Mike McCarthy out. I'm sorry. Sorry, Cowboys fans. I'm just speaking the truth here.
AT, I appreciate you, brother. Talk to you soon.
All right. Feel better. Get better. Never looked better. We'll talk soon. We'll talk next week. Thank you.
All right, Aaron. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. All right. That is Aaron Torres on the BCSI hotline. Go check out AaronTorresOnline.com. Great insight. And, of course, you can hear him nationally on Fox Sports Radio. Open segment when we come back. We'll open up the phone lines on the BCS hotline, 979-693-1150. We'll get to your text messages. And then hour number 3, Logan Lee, a lot of basketball talk on the agenda. We'll have that, Tap Benz, and the Fan Show next on TexAgs.
Your home for Texas A&M women's basketball is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone. The Zone.
You say goodbye and I say hello.
With Mercari, your unneeded things can find a new life.
Hello, hello.
Easily list and sell.
I know why you say goodbye and I say hello.
Or discover great finds.
Hello.
Buy or sell almost anything.
You say goodbye and I say hello.
Download Mercari on the app stores or at Mercari.com. Mercari, your marketplace.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Bryan Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley.
Brazos Life, the annual manual.
Welcome home, Brazos Valley.
Brazos Family. Brazos Wellness.
Brazos Valley Bride.
Peace, Brazos Christian Life.
With the combined power of 7 magazine titles, 11 radio stations, and digital solutions, Bryan Broadcasting Publications can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
One of our biggest problems today is that we are afraid to have others challenge our mindset, and therefore we avoid topics that can lead to challenging conversations. At a young age, we're told not to talk about anything that is remotely divisive, but without having challenging conversations, how do you know that what you're saying is your truth and not just something you were raised to believe? Having conversations is how we learn. It's important to be able to see the other sides of things in order to form an opinion and choose what's best for you. Let's say you were raised to shower with all your clothes on. You could go throughout life thinking that is the best way to get clean. And if you never meet anyone brave enough to talk about hygiene, then you may never know that there is a better way. There's no reason to be afraid of differences. Limiting yourself to certain topics can render yourself unable to talk to friends, coworkers, or even family. To avoid challenging conversations is the same as to keep your mind trapped in a little box. Open your box and start having more civic conversations.
Civility. It's an American thing. From AmericanThing.org.
This is ESPN Radio.
Deion Sanders, the head coach of Jackson State.
I wouldn't pay my son if he didn't have NIL. I'm going to coach a guy that's making more than me.
Former Jaguar receiver Jimmy Smith.
Anytime you let your feet leave the ground and go on another man, Jay, I'm just like you. You got to get these hands.
Antonio Gates, 8-time Pro Bowler and former tight end for the Chargers.
I was like, wow, man, this guy got a chance to be the best quarterback we have ever seen in a Charger uniform.
Diego Fagoda, linebacker at Navy. They beat Army.
My first reaction was, I almost just lost this game for us.
Former Bengals offensive lineman Willie Anderson joins us.
Have you started crying yet, man? You know you're a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Man, I did shed a tear, Keith.
5-time All-Pro tackle, former Jaguar Tony Baselli joining us.
Trying to figure out what the hell y'all got going on down in Jacksonville.
Well, if you figure it out, let me know.
ESPN Radio, weeknights and weekends on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
Might as well jump Aggie basketball. I don't know if you know this segue. I apologize for that. Welcome back into TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate everybody watching, listening, wherever you're taking in this content. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can text us on the A&B text line. Do you believe in this A&M basketball team? There's a lot to believe in, and still some question marks without a doubt. You can also call us on the BCSI hotline. So we can certainly break that all down for you guys. All right, something that I did want to get into here on this last couple of minutes of the second hour is the transfer portal and how it's affecting everybody. And yesterday we saw some news affecting Texas A&M. Eric Young hit the transfer portal. And you also had Antonio Doyle saying that he's going to go to Jackson State. So a couple guys there of note. I think it's 6 Aggies have now hit the portal or left. You've got from the Arkansas side of things, Traylon Smith, he's entering the portal. You're seeing a lot of movement out there. And I guess my question to you is, what is the end result? So, the rich is going to get richer, right? So if you are a starter at a, non-SEC school or just whatever, not a group of 5 school, and they have developed you, now you're going to go elsewhere because you're going to be promised the moon with NIL and a potential starting spot. And you may hit the bench, you may start, but then the Alabamas of the world, the A&Ms of the world are going to get better. But what is going to happen at the A&Ms and the Alabamas and the Georgias and all these top schools is that those guys who can feel come spring ball, man, I am not going to play on this team. They're gonna leave. And what I think is going to happen is the depth is going to be affected big time, because those guys that you're going to rely on when the going gets tough, and it does every season, they're not going to have big eyes. So I say that to you, that look, it is here to stay, at least the way we see it right now. And at some point, hopefully there's somebody who can put in some guardrails and affect it differently and beyond the windows. But I don't like it, but I'm happy that Jimbo and company are taking advantage of it. And Buzz and company took advantage of the transfer window. So it is the current state that we're in, but it needs to change. And I'm not a huge fan of the way it looks, the way it's playing out, but it is where we are here in this world of college football. All right, guys, that's going to do it here for this hour. We'll see you guys in a bit on TexAgs Radio.
Not completing high school was more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors: Pioneer Steel, Gulf States Toyota, Cherry Rafino with Coldwell Banker Apex Realty, and Amarillo National Bank. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
We love beer, steak, Aggie football, and your community. Hang out with Louis Bellina, weekdays 11 to 2 on the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. This is KZNE, College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on The Zone. Construction remains on schedule at Blinn College's Rellis Campus Administration Building. Chancellor Mary Hensley told the Board of Trustees during this week's meeting that completion is still targeted for this fall.
The exterior finishes continue with brick and curtain wall installation. The interior painting is taking place on the first and second floors right now, and the in-wall inspections for the third floor are complete. And the audio-visual vendor is under contract and will begin the rough-in work this month, and the contracts and purchase orders are in process for the furniture, fixtures, and equipment, which were approved, you may recall, at our December board meeting.
On the Bryan campus, demolition has started to remove a church and 2 other buildings on the site of the new administration building at Villa Maria in Nash. Hensley says an undisclosed number of companies have submitted a proposal to be the construction manager at risk for the $35 million project. She expects trustees will consider awarding a contract next month. There is another increase in active coronavirus cases in Brazos County, but there are fewer local hospitalizations. Yesterday's health district report shows more than 3,300 active cases and 56 hospitalized residents. More information can be found at brazoshealth.org. Bryan Mayor Andrew Nelson began his latest visit on WTAW by remembering Councilman Flynn Adcock, who unexpectedly passed away on Monday.
Certainly we have heavy hearts right now, and our thoughts and prayers are with his family.
Nelson says he doesn't think current city staff has ever had to deal with filling a vacant council seat because of a sudden death.
But we're going to give the family some space and privacy to, complete their a lot of the mechanics of this week, but we're going to be saying prayers for them, and we'll get going with that probably next week when we're done kind of grieving together.
Nelson says Adcock was a good councilman who loved serving. For more news, go online to WTAW.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Vera Bank is open and we are excited to serve you in College Station. Hi, this is Erica Archer, Treasury Management Officer at Vera Bank, and I specialize in helping businesses run their day-to-day operations more efficiently, saving you valuable time. Our team's job is to make yours easier. So give us a call or come by and see us off of Highway 6. At Vera Bank, you have a team of genuine bankers on your side, and you can bank on it.
Visit verabank.com today. That's VERA bank.com. Vera Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Suck it up.
It's not a big deal.
Snap out.
Just get over it.
We've all heard it. But if you're experiencing extreme stress, it's not just in your head. It can affect your entire body because toxic stress can hurt us physically without us even knowing it. If you've lost a job, worry about your next meal, or have trouble making it through the day, if you're feeling the effects of stress, we can help. Text stress to 211-211 to find a solution.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. The Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. A tough loss for Texas A&M men's basketball last night as it fell to 12th-ranked Kentucky 64-58 at Reed. Backed by a record-breaking crowd of 14,000-plus, the Aggies jumped out to a large lead in the first half, only to see it evaporate down the stretch. Coach Buzz Williams.
It's hard to win when you shoot 4% from three or 39% from the free throw line. But specific to the things that we wanted to try to accomplish, the 4 things that we thought were priorities to give us a chance, I thought we tried really hard.
The Aggies entered the game leading the SEC in three-pointers, but made just 1 of 22 attempts. With the loss, they fall to 15-3 overall and 4-1 in conference play. Tonight it'll be the Texas A&M women's turn as they welcome Ole Miss to town. The Maroon and White are fresh off their first SEC victory of the year, a 71-53 walloping of Auburn. Tip-off against the Lady Rebs is at 7 o'clock at Reed with broadcast right here on The Zone. Out on the tennis courts, the number 19 Aggie men opened up their dual match season with a bang yesterday, bowling over Arizona State 5-2 in Tempe. The guys return home Saturday for the ITA kickoff weekend. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
Listening to The Zone on your Amazon Dot or Echo is easy. Even Louie figured it out. 2 simple steps, and you can hear Chip Howard Sports Talk, TexAgs Radio, The Louie Bellina Show, and many